G'day and welcome back to GP25 here on CS38 Racing. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into some race off. We're going to take the bikes into the race off mode. We're going to do flat track first. Now let's see who we're going to pick. Oh, okay, we can get to look around a little bit, which is a little bit different, which is nice. Oh, we can take photos in this mode. Interesting. Do I want to take a photo? Play around with settings, kind of the same as normal. Let's go back. Let's pick a rider. Marquez, we know, would be good at flat track, but do we want to pick Marquez? We could use our own rider. No, I think we might stick with the official riders, but you can see that there is the different liveries there, which I think is quite cool to have those different liveries. I think we're using Pecco Bagnaia for the first race on Castile track. So there is only 2 tracks. It would be nice to see a little bit more variation with the tracks, but there's not a huge amount we can do about that. Okay, hopefully it's something that is updated in the end. We're going to do 4 laps here on the flat track. Let's see how it goes. The physics is quite different. Obviously, being on flat track, you do feel a little bit more slippy and slidey. So that's going to take a little bit of getting used to, but it does look bloody brilliant, doesn't it? Sliding around, it looks pretty fantastic. We've had a bit of a hit there with, I believe that was Chantra. So we're weaving all over the place, but it still has quite a bit of speed. So let's see if we can settle into a rhythm and get ourselves moving towards the front of the grid. Whoa, okay, it is possible to crash in this mode if you buck and weave all over the place like a dog with a doll, shaking it around there. Okay. So now we're just behind Binder in 7th place. The rear's slipping and sliding all over the place. You don't want it to slide too much, because as soon as you sit up, it loses you crucially quite a bit of drive. Whoa, we're flicking all over the place there. That's losing a lot of time. So we need to find a way to perfectly balance the bike here to ensure that we're getting enough out of the momentum that we're getting, as well as sliding to maintain the speed and get a sense of control. Once we get that sweet spot, it will be all good. Okay, coming into the first couple of corners. Whoa, twitching on the rear there. It's just not having the confidence, as you can see the other rider ahead of us here, Chantra, has. Let's see if we can gain here. Now, one thing I have noticed is there are not any track limits in this race-off mode, so that's a little bit disappointing, particularly if, other riders are cutting the limits a bit, which we are very much abusing track limits on this run. But let's see if we can settle into a bit of a rhythm, get those power slides happening. See if we can get ourselves into a bit better position here. That's a bit better than last time, but it's still quite twitchy. I guess it's all about maintaining the speed where we can. Whoa, big cut on track limits there. Now we're starting to get a little bit of traction here on Chantra. Whoa, bucking and weaving. It is, the physics are quite different. I find everything to be quite spongy, so you kind of got to be very loose with your controls and just sort of let the bike carry the speed. Let the bike glide through the corner like that, and you'll gain a lot of time in the corners. There we go, we've managed to get through on Chantra. Let's see how we go now. Seems like we're getting into a little bit of a rhythm here, which is good on the 3rd lap, but hey, it's still good to get into a rhythm rather than not a rhythm at all. So I do think that this is a great addition to the game to give something different in the gameplay, give you something different to focus on. I think that is quite good. Yes, so I think it's good for that to be added to the game. I think it would have been better that we maybe had a few different class variations. Probably would have been good if they could do something about like scanning the VR46 ranch and, you know, having that sort of element to it could be quite good. I'm not too sure at this stage if this is in multiplayer, these things. It might be good to do like a sort of like an Americana style race that I know that the ranch does, something like that, getting some good online play happening. I think that would be quite cool to do, particularly if you do play. It would be something cool that I'd even be interested in joining that just for a bit of fun. So let's see if that is something that does come up with these. I think that would be quite interesting, and hopefully it is a feature that does stay in MotoGP, because it is quite common that MotoGP can put an idea into a game and then it'll be there for one game and then it goes and you don't get it back again. I feel like it should be built upon, like if I suppose at some point the update of Moto E will come in, but you know, those things would be good to have that completely in the game, continuing into the next game and building upon what it has. You know, I often think it would be good if they did have, you know, some races in the CEV Championship of Moto 3, or at least Red Bull Rookies, just something that gives a little bit of a recognition there. Maybe even Honda Asia Talent Cup, something like that, to just give a little bit of recognition there as we undercut Miller on the last lap, on the last corner, to get second just behind Mir. So that was pretty good there. The cutscenes are nice, something a little bit different. Pecco very happy there, and to be considering where he is currently in the championship and how he has been, it's probably pretty good to get a second on the flat track. Okay, let's jump down to the Motards. We're here with Zarco on the French track, who's had a pretty darn remarkable weekend in France at Le Mans. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you go check it out, because it was an incredible race. It was a really, really good race. I'd say one of the contenders for probably one of the best races of the probably last 5 years, maybe even decade, dare I say it. Okay, so the characteristics are quite different with the Motard. It feels, well, all of them have a distinct sort of physics, a little bit different physics, of course. I don't know how accurate that would be. I don't really have any reference for Motards other than maybe Ride 5, which we sort of know isn't the best one there, as we take a massive cut through that apex there, almost doing some flat track on the grass there. So I don't know how accurate it is, but it's fun. I think it is something that should be added to the MotoGP game, something that gives a little bit of a bit more immersion into the into the sort of life of the training, I guess, of the riders that we may not always see in the mainstream. We probably do see it on their social media and things like that, but it's still good to have this included. It's something different, gives you something to do, a little bit more fun added to the game. The scenery, even though this is a fantasy track and there is only 2 variants of tracks for Motard, Minimoto and flat track, would have been nice again to see some more tracks added, but you know, what can we do about that other than just maybe have a bit of fun with it while it is here. The Motards do have a little bit of a different characteristic. They're a bit more floaty. They feel like they're not necessarily going to stop, or that they don't. Sometimes they can oversteer quite a bit, which I think is general across both characteristics of this and the mini bikes. But again, very interesting. As we're looking to, we're going to make a move on Rins, who may come back again at the next corner. He didn't seem to there. Quite good at being able to block off the main line there. We're getting wiggly on the rear. That's a huge cut there. Of course, no penalties seemingly in ride-off mode. He's going for a dive on Binder, but we don't make it work. Binder's got back through. We're looking to try and find a way through on Binder, but we didn't really get one there. We're going to go for a wily lunge on the inside. No, that was just a complete corner cut. That should be penalised if that was, and we're going for another extreme corner cut there. As we're still sort of getting used to the steering on these bikes as we come into lap 4. We're going well and truly off track, getting really wild with the South African rider there. Again, using those track limits very liberally. And finally managed to get through on Binder. Got Jorge Martin ahead of us. Will we be able to do anything about that? Before the end of the lap, we're going for it. We're sending it. We're trying to get up the inside of Martin. So we now look to make a move on Bezzecchi, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that in the closing corners. And it is 5th for Zarco. Okay, let's jump down to the mini motos. We're here with Digia. And we're going to do 4 laps again. This is quite a fun little game mode. Tend to think, whoops, some barging there. Ooh, the characteristics are quite different with this. Okay, let's... Whoa, nope, the brakes were not pulling us up there. We're going to have to run wide. Oh, and we're sort of a little bit all over the place. But that's okay. We can work with that. We can work with that. Oh, we're a bit deep. We're going to have to sit that one up. Still in the same position. We're possibly going to lose a position here. We're running very deep and wide and almost had a crash there. So it is possible to crash these. I guess you just got to be a bit careful. But once you get the hang of them and how the different tracks, I think they're pretty fun. They're a pretty good piece of fun in the game. Now let's see if we can focus up and... Oh, we've really closed in on Miguel Oliveira here as we go for an overtake seamlessly through there. Whoa, we've kind of missed our braking marker and tried not to run into the back of Jack Miller, which we're seeming to do semi-successfully as we run straight into the back of Joan Mir there. That's okay, I guess we'll just work with that. Okay, we come across the line with 3 laps completed, 1 lap to go. Ooh. Some more corner cutting there. Very strong into this corner, turn 6. We've never really made the braking work into that corner. Whoa, I don't know what we're doing there. A bit twitchy, let's see if we can get the brake to... Whoop, nope, we've run completely wide. We'll just sit up and skip that corner there. As we're closing in now for the final lap here. Gonna make a move on Oliveira. That we've managed to go up the inside there. We're going to track down a fellow Aussie of Jack Miller. And we're creeping up, and we've run to the back of him. That wasn't exactly the plan there. Well, let's go with a different plan now. Let's see if we can go back around the outside. Oh, can we manage to get the brakes this time? We do manage to get the brakes to work. That's pretty excellent. Good. Oh, okay. Managed to go around the outside of our teammate there, Franco Morbidelli. That's pretty good. I think Mir's a little bit too far off at this stage, and that rounds out our mini moto. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.